Hey, this is Brandon with Pickleball Effect. Since the Vulcan VPro Flight ball was announced as the official ball for PPA tournaments, there's been some debate on how it compares to other popular outdoor balls. There's been a wide range of varying opinions, but no one has gathered any objective data to compare their performance, so that's what I set out to do with this test I put together. I wanted to better understand how each ball compares with each other and to help folks decide what ball they want to play with. So for this test, I measured the power, pop, spin, and bounce of the Vulcan VPro Flight, Franklin X40, Onix Dura, Selkirk S1, and the JOOLA Heleus. The Vulcan, Franklin, and Dura retail for about $4 a ball, while the Selkirk S1 is $3.75 and the JOOLA Heleus is $3.25 a ball. But it's worth noting that all ball options other than the Vulcan reduce in price when you buy in bulk. So if you get a 100-pack rather than a 3-pack, then it's cheaper per ball. If you do decide to purchase any of these balls, I have links to them in the description of the video. To conduct the test, I utilized 2 brand new balls for each brand I was testing in an indoor setting to eliminate the influence of wind and temperature on the results. Using my Stalker Pro 2S radar gun, I measured the power of each ball in miles per hour by taking the 10 measurements of my hardest serve and calculating the average. Likewise, to measure pop, I used the radar gun to measure the miles per hour behind a stationary punch volley by again taking 10 measurements. Additionally, I used the same radar gun to collect 10 measurements of the ball's spin RPMs and took the average. Finally, I determined the bounce height of the ball by measuring the average height attained during 10 bounces by dropping the ball from the same height each time. I know these tests aren't perfect, but I did my best to produce the most accurate results. So with that out of the way, here's what I got. Starting with power, the Dura was the clear winner here, and the JOOLA not being too far behind, and then we had a steady decrease in speed until we got to the Franklin, which was quite a bit slower than the others. Looking at pop now, the results followed nearly the same ranking as it did for power, though the Selkirk and Franklin swapped spots. We saw a small decrease between each ball other than the Dura, which blew the rest of the balls out of the water. The results for spin shook things up though. We had the Dura at the top again, but Franklin jumped up to number 2 and JOOLA fell to the bottom. I will say that we should put an asterisk on these results because I did the spin test while the balls were fairly new and they weren't super scuffed up yet. I performed the spin test after I did the others like the power and pop tests, so they were somewhat scuffed up but not completely. So the difference in spin here may be more of a result of how quickly the ball gets scuffed versus how much spin they can actually produce, but it still gives us an idea, but take that for what it's worth. Lastly, we have the bounce test, which put things back into a similar ranking as pop and power, though the JOOLA jumped to the number 1 spot and the Dura dropped to the 2nd spot. For a final comparison, you can see all the categories lined up next to each other here in this table. If you want to play with a faster ball, then the Dura and the JOOLA are the way to go. If you want something in the middle, then the Vulcan is a good choice. And if you want something softer and slower, then the Selkirk and Franklin are your best options there. To conclude, I'll add some of my thoughts about the balls outside of just looking purely at performance. So the Dura is fast, but is also the least durable ball in the bunch and will crack on you quicker than the others. I personally prefer playing with the Dura while outdoors during the hot summer months because it doesn't get too mushy and still plays with some speed. I imagine the JOOLA is similar in that regard as well. Likewise, in cooler temperatures, I prefer the Franklin because the cooler temps firm up the ball and it plays faster without cracking too quickly, like the Dura would in colder temperatures. Additionally, I'll say that though the Franklin may be the slowest ball in this group, it also holds its shape the best and gives you the most predictable bounce, which is worth something. The other 4 tend to get out of round quicker and can give you more erratic bounces on hard serves and just generally when the ball is moving faster. I can't say one ball is necessarily better than all the others, it just depends on what you're looking for, so I hope this data helps. If you're interested in picking up any of these balls, I included links in the description to purchase them. I do get a small kickback from these purchases, so I appreciate anyone that uses them. Thanks for watching and I hope that helped.